welcome back to the Schmitter 100 Acre Woods. So today, really need to bush hog out back behind, under the power lines here at the homestead. So I'm going to work on getting the backhoe off, put the 3-point hitch attachments on, and get the bush hog hooked up. So in the past, I've done a video taking the backhoe off, so I probably won't do a full video on that this time. You can go back and check out previous video on doing that. I kind of walk through kind of the technique I use and kind of how to do it. It's also been probably 1.5 to 2 years since we've had that off, so it may take a little bit more work just because things haven't been worked very much. The pins, getting those pulled out. Two things you'll notice. One, I'm going to have to go up to the yard just because that's a flat spot. You need a flat area to do this. And it's only going to sit there for the afternoon, and then I'll put it right back on. And then the other thing I will do today is I'll show putting the 3-point hitch pieces on. So there's the 2 arms that you take on and off, and it has all the mounting spots on there. So I'll do a time lapse getting the backhoe off, and then I'll do a more in-depth kind of tutorial and explanation of getting the 3-point hitch pieces on, and kind of what's involved in that. So that's what I'll be working on today. We got, so you have kind of 3 main pieces and then a little bit of hardware. So you have the 2 arms, obviously. This is how we store them in the shed, so we keep all of the extra pieces on that mount to the tractor to stop it from swaying, and then the pieces that actually hook up to the hydraulic arms that lift it. So we keep all of that together like that. Obviously the top link, so that'll go on last, and then the other side. And then for hardware, you have these here that hold in the ends. So on the far end here, it holds those in, and then you have little bolts that then bolt into the tractor to keep that secure. So typically you need a couple of different pairs of pliers, and then this is a 14mm socket, just on a ratchet and a small extension. So it's kind of what you have hardware wise. Now what we're actually looking at on the tractor, so you have a couple different pieces. So you have where this pin that I was talking about here goes through. So that's the back side of the arm, goes through this hole here, and holds that arm up. And then there is a spot right there that you run that screw in. So you just line up the holes and then run the screw in. So that holds that side. And then out here is where this piece goes. So you take this pin out and the clip, and then put that through that hole. And then the top part here is what goes up into here. And like, we just keep those clips and that washer on there as part of that. And we haven't had any issue with losing those. So this is exactly how I just took the backhoe off, and then this is how it looked afterwards. I haven't cleaned anything up, haven't done anything additional yet. Like those there, I may get just like a little bit of grease or anti-seize and put a little bit on there. Same with these 2 pins down here, and then those shouldn't need anything. But those I'm just going to put a little bit of grease on just to help them go in. And then those holes look like they're pretty cleared out, but I'll probably run the screw in and out of them a couple times just to clean them up before I actually try to put the pin in, just because you have to juggle quite a few pieces whenever you start to do this. So I'll try to put you someplace where you can actually see, but end up having to juggle an arm, get things hooked up, and everything. So I'll try to put you someplace where you can kind of see a little bit of it, and then I'll kind of narrate as I go. But let me go get a little bit of grease, get a little bit of this greased up a little bit beforehand, so I can then wash my hands to touch the camera. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then okay, so hopefully you stay up there. So basically, I'm gonna get this on first. That kind of gets the whole thing hung up, and then it kind of allows you to work it. I didn't take, the only other thing I need to do is the clevis down at the bottom. You have the washer clip and then that. I'll go ahead and take those out before it's kind of stuffed in behind the wheel. So just set those there. So this one goes over here, like that. Then do the same thing, get this clip out. Like I mentioned before, it's been a little while since I've done this, so I'm not exactly quick at it anyway. And then it hasn't been a while, I have to kind of remind myself what exactly the process is. So go ahead and get those hung up. So you can see they're just kind of hanging from there. So this now lets you kind of get this in place. I'll probably work on getting that, and then get that last over there next to the wheel. But getting that pin in is not too bad. I got just a little bit of WD-40, sprayed it in there so that that pin will be easier to go through. So I'll go ahead and get the pin in and get the screw started on both of these, and then I'll kind of show you more close up of getting that over there put together. Okay, so that goes in pretty easy. I'll go ahead and do this one. So I just have where the bolt goes, have it fairly closely lined up. You can rotate a little bit after the fact, but it's easier to have it relatively close beforehand. Okay, so I have that. So now I'll go ahead and put the bolts in both of those. Again, it's a 14 millimeter. I did put just a little bit of WD-40 in this hole to ring it in, and it got pretty hard, so just put a spray in there just to help. And I had a lock washer on it, so you just want to get down to we have that lock washer tightened up, and it just stops that from coming out. Do the same thing on the other one. I think I have it lined up enough. Stick my head in there and see. I actually don't. So this one, it actually just moves by hand, so you don't need to do anything fancy. Just rotate by hand until you get where you need to go. It's easier said than done since it's kind of in behind. So I got that started by hand, and go ahead and just finish that up with the ratchet. Okay, and I'm using a small ratchet, so I'm not getting crazy tight with that, just tight enough to stop that from backing out. Like I said, it's got a lock washer, so it doesn't have to be crazy tight. Okay, so when all said and done, it looks like that. So just goes through, goes up against, holds that in, do that on both sides. So basically, have the main part. So now you have the like the sway bar stop. So basically, it keeps that from swaying too far left or right. So you have the clevis that goes on the end of that, which is over here. So you just take the clevis through, and then get it lined up like that, and then just put the hardware through. So just the bolt, washer, pin, or clip. So I'll go ahead and do that next. I'll probably go ahead and spray just a little bit of WD-40 in there too, just because it's been so long. It's probably got dirt and everything built up, so I'll allow it to slide through a little bit. So I'll go ahead and work on that next. And put you like that, maybe. And not a requirement, but just something that I typically do. And it probably doesn't really matter, but I always go pin from like leaving the accessories or the clip and everything on the inside of the machine. You don't have to do it that way. I've just found that have probably a better chance of not losing it. And again, it's not hard, but it's just getting that all lined up. And then again, I have these clips, so you just push this clip in. And it's one of the reasons I grab the pliers typically. And you'll know seem to work well for here. You can just grab that, get it on. There we go. So that one's done. Do the same thing over here. So once I'm done, this is probably taking, let's see here, maybe 30 minutes or so. And that's including showing you guys what I'm doing, so it can obviously be done quicker. And if I was doing this more regularly, then it obviously wouldn't take as long because I've kind of had to remind myself how to do it. But have that in, that's hooked up there. Have that pin in with the bolt on both sides, and then that over there. So this is the 3-point system on the 62. Obviously nothing fancy. Have the old turnbuckle style adjustments on everything. So nothing, none of the fancy sliding pieces, which is fine. Definitely haven't infrequently used this. So just take this cap off the 3-point hitch or the PTO. It's just a cover to keep that clean since we take it to the dirt. So I'll go ahead and get hooked up to the bush hog next. I think I haven't messed with any of these, so this should be, I think that's the last thing I used on this, so these should still be good for that. So I'll go ahead and get hooked up and then head out back and get that knocked down. Note on this, so if you're used to using the 62 with the backhoe on, you've taken about 1,000 pounds off the backside. So you want a light or no front end loader attachment. So you can't take the front end loader off of these, but you want, like, I'm gonna leave the forks on. They're not heavy and everything, so you do have to be careful without any weight on the back of these. And we don't have these tires filled. The back end is pretty light on these. There's not a whole lot back here, obviously, without the backhoe. And since the backhoe lives on it 90% of the time, probably 99% of the time. Kind of don't think about it, but even just in two-wheel drive, you can get these tires to spin just like backing up to the concrete here. You got the tires to spin a little bit, so something to be mindful of and think about if you're going to use it without it. Like anything, counterbalance. I'll get hooked up to the bush hog so you have a little bit, but um, just something to keep in mind if you're used to having the backhoe on there.